if you open, I don't know, basically any social feed right now, what you're seeing isn't just one ad.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of maybe 1,000 different versions of that ad, tweaked for the platform, the time of day, maybe even the language you speak.
It's constant.
It is. And every brand, especially these global giants like L'Oreal, they're caught in this just relentless cycle of making and shipping content. It's honestly overwhelming just to think about.
Yeah, the logistics alone are staggering.
So how does a company that big, that global, selling everything from luxury perfumes to stuff you buy at the drugstore, how do they possibly keep up with that volume and the speed?
The speed is the thing.
Today, we're doing a deep dive into what enterprise AI adoption looks like in the real world. We're looking at how L'Oreal is using it to handle this, just this massive demand for content.
And our sources make it really clear this isn't about a few big glossy TV ads a year anymore.
Not at all.
Mm.
It's a nonstop machine. You need constant updates, new formats for every platform, new languages, local variations. It's endless. So our mission today is to get past the usual AI hype. We want to extract the really important nuggets on where this tech provides measurable, low-risk value inside a huge, global, and let's be honest, risk-averse company.
We're looking at AI as infrastructure, basically, not as some creative genius.
Exactly. Okay, so let's unpack this whole structural problem.
What's so fascinating here is really understanding how the sheer scale of this demand has just completely broken the old way of doing things. The traditional marketing production model, it just can't keep up.
Right.
The need for speed has become like the #1 thing in these modern digital supply chains.
And that word necessity is so key, isn't it? Because the demand, it's not seasonal anymore. You've got social platforms, e-commerce, these tiny regional campaigns.
Mm-hmm.
They all need fresh content all the time.
Continuously. The main idea might last a few months, but the actual ad you see, its shelf life could be 48 hours before the algorithm wants something new.
So let's just detail that complexity for a second. Think about what a creative team has to produce from just one core video.
Yep.
You need a 16.9 version for YouTube, a 9.16 for stories and reels, a 1.1 for the main feed. But then you start layering things on.
Right. The local language voiceovers, the captions for different dialects.
And making sure the length is right. Is it a 5-second bumper ad or a 30-second pre-roll? Plus, you've got these subtle visual shifts for different audiences in the same city. It's not addition. It's exponential.
And that multiplication, that's what immediately shows you the bottleneck in the old system.
Mm-hmm.
Historically, every new asset, every tiny little change, it triggered the same expensive slow loop. A human editor, then a stakeholder review, then legal has to approve it, then resizing, rendering.
And final delivery, over and over again.
Exactly. So when you scale that across, say, 50 global markets and hundreds of different products, the real problem isn't the cost of the original video shoot. It's the time and labor cost of making all those versions.
The human editorial team just becomes this permanent choke point.
It's a total failure of the logistical system. The original idea is fine, but the system for getting it everywhere all at once is broken.
So if the problem is logistics and the bottleneck is just human repetition, how does AI change the math for a brand like L'Oreal?
Well, AI-supported adaptation, it just introduces leverage. That's the key. Instead of reshooting or, rebuilding an asset from scratch for every little variation,
You just reuse the original.
you reuse the original high-quality approved footage, the hero asset, and you extend it into all those new deliverables way faster. You're creating variations with so much less friction.
Which brings us to our next point. And this is where it gets really interesting, beyond the buzzwords. If the goal is speed, where does a company like L'Oreal draw the line? I mean, are we sure this isn't just about handing the brand over to an algorithm?
No, absolutely not. And the source material is really emphatic about this. L'Oreal's approach is super disciplined. It's focused entirely on operational support.
So production acceleration, not creative leadership.
Exactly. They are not asking the machine to come up with their next big campaign idea or, redefine their whole brand aesthetic.
So the AI is only focused on the tasks that sit between the original human idea, the expensive artistic part, and the final distribution. What did that actually look like day to day?
Think about all the repeatable kind of mechanical tasks that eat up an editor's time.
Okay.
So stuff like image processing to make sure the color grading is consistent on every version, or polishing existing footage to meet some weird platform spec like optimizing compression without losing quality. And the big one, dynamically adjusting aspect ratios.
Turning that horizontal video into a perfect vertical one instantly.
Yes, that's a huge time sink done manually.
So it sounds like the human is still the director, but the AI is kind of the world's fastest, most meticulous assistant.
That's a perfect way to put it. The humans are still responsible for the creative direction, the brand standards, the final sign-off. The AI just crushes the time between the marketing team saying, we need this in 25 formats, and those assets actually being ready.
That's such a crucial insight, especially if you're working in a big corporate environment. For enterprise marketing, the goal isn't always chasing something totally new with every single post. It's about pure, consistent throughput. They just need to make sure the creative work they already paid for gets to every channel, perfectly formatted, without these huge delays.
Exactly.
But okay, this speed and throughput, it immediately brings up the question of risk. L'Oreal is risk-averse. When you start generating thousands of assets from one input, how do you stop one small error from becoming a global brand nightmare?
That's the million-dollar question, because that scale introduces massive risk. You can't have a person check every single one.
Right, it's like a tiny pebble starting a landslide.
It is. If you're distributing globally, a tiny inconsistency, a slight shift in tone, a visual glitch on one phone model, a compliance mistake, it can spread everywhere instantly.
Yeah.
A minor production error becomes a systemic brand crisis.
So how do they build that confidence? How do they trust the AI won't create some weird systemic brand drift over time? Is it just more human reviews?
Well, that's the core governance challenge. It's less about one person checking every single output, because that just brings back the bottleneck, right?
Yeah.
It's more about setting really stringent boundaries before the AI even starts. They use their existing tech, specifically their digital asset management systems, their DAMs, to control the inputs the AI gets.
So the input is the key. If the main video is already compliant, it's already tagged with all the right brand standards.
Yeah.
The AI is basically working inside a pre-approved sandbox.
Exactly. The AI isn't starting from a blank slate. It's just applying these defined, optimized processes to assets that have already passed human creative and legal review.
I see.
And that's the pattern you see everywhere with successful enterprise AI. They add it as a support layer inside their existing rigid guardrails. The AI outputs might go through a final QA check, but most of the brand risk is handled by making sure the inputs are clean.
So it's reinforcing the established workflow, not trying to blow it up.
Yes, precisely. Marketing teams want to make execution smoother and faster. They are not asking AI to redefine their brand for them.
So the human team's role shifts. They're not the production bottleneck anymore. They become like the auditors and the architects of the system, defining the rules of that sandbox.
And accountability always stays with them. Always.
Which shows that enterprise AI really succeeds where rules and standards already exist.
Okay, but let's get to the results. What's the bottom line? Even a company like L'Oreal has budget pressures. What's the actual business case here?
The benefits really fall into three main areas, and it's not about cutting jobs, it's about increasing capacity.
Okay.
First is speed. Faster turnarounds mean they can jump on trends or react to media changes much quicker. Second is repeatability. You get consistently high-quality, technically perfect assets every single time without human error creeping in.
And the third?
And third is a more strategic kind of cost efficiency. You get a much lower marginal cost for every additional asset you create.
Meaning you're getting more value out of that initial expensive video shoot. Dramatically more.
Yeah.
You're stretching the value of every creative dollar across way more channels for a longer period of time.
Okay, let's talk about that last point.
Yeah.
If we're not just looking for a big, obvious cut to the production budget, how do you measure the ROI? Is L'Oreal seeing this as a way to, say, reallocate money, maybe take the funds they used to spend on manual post-production and put it back into better hero concepts?
Precisely. That is the strategic play. The savings aren't just about cutting costs. They're about increasing leverage and really freeing up your human creative teams. Think about it. If your best creative people are spending 80% of their day on boring, repetitive versioning tasks, that's 80% of their time not spent on innovating or big picture strategy.
That's a huge opportunity cost.
Yes, it is. So by using AI to crush that marginal cost per asset, they unlock all this human brain power. The overall budget might stay the same, but the quality and the sheer number of campaign touch points goes way up. It's an efficiency multiplier, not just a cost-cutting knife.
So the business case isn't just we saved X dollars. It's we reached Y more audiences with perfect material, and we gave our best people their time back to think strategically.
That's the mark of AI maturity. This is what practical enterprise AI actually looks like. Instead of trying to use AI for, open-ended brainstorming, which is high risk and subjective, they focus on tasks that are predictable.
Where quality is easy to measure against a spec sheet.
Right, and where it's easy to review and the risk is low. So creative freedom stays with the people, AI just powers the scale and distribution.
So what does this all mean for someone listening trying to figure out how AI will actually change their industry, whether it's marketing or, I don't know, logistics or operations?
Well, the big structural takeaway is that any production model built for slow seasonal cycles is basically obsolete now.
Yeah, that seems clear.
Modern companies have to deliver more content more often to more channels while keeping the brand perfectly consistent and controlling costs. AI tools can absorb that pressure, but, and this is a big but, only when they're operating inside very clear, very strict guardrails.
Which means the real challenge isn't the technology itself, it's the leadership.
It's absolutely the leadership. Leaders have to step up and define the governance. They have to decide exactly where AI is allowed, what still needs a manual review, how brand standards are enforced in the system, and most importantly, who owns the final accountability.
Because without those rules, any speed you gain is just wiped out by brand mistakes. But with them, AI just quietly increases your output without threatening the brand. It's just infrastructure.
Exactly right. AI isn't the star of the show here. It's a practical tool used to reduce friction so teams can keep up with this always-on world without giving up creative control. The real change we're seeing is the slow, steady transformation in the economics of production.
One automated variation at a time.
One platform adjustment, one compressed deadline at a time. And if AI's biggest, most measurable value is turning one amazing hero asset into thousands of optimized variations, that raises a really interesting question for anyone planning content.
Okay.
What does that mean for the value equation long term? Does it subtly shift the focus from just what is the core concept to something more strategic, like how scalable and reproducible is this concept for a global brand moving at this speed?
Something to think about as you decide where to put your creative energy next.